Over the past 20 years as a full-time investor, I have now contracted thousands of distressed on-market properties that were listed for sale with real estate agents. And the process to make an offer and secure a contract with a real estate agent is much different than direct to seller with off-market properties. Now in this video, using a live call breakdown, you're gonna look over my shoulder and watch me use my proven 3-step process that I use with agents to secure deals that you can wholesale or flip for profit. Now, if you really want to learn the agent model well, be sure to check out my Watch Me Wholesale Show series, where I choose a random market, I find a distressed on-market property for sale, I run the numbers, and then I call and make the offer, all in about 30 minutes or less. Now, those videos will give you a really good perspective on what the acquisition process looks like with agents. I'll put the playlist link to those video series in the description box below this video for you to watch later. And if you're new here, I'm Jerry Norton. I make millions of dollars a year wholesaling and flipping houses. And here on my YouTube channel, I show you how to do the same. So if you want to be a flipping genius like me and live your dream life, subscribe to my channel and watch my videos. Now, before we dive in, let me give you some context to the deal I'm going to use as our case study on this video. This deal is in Metro Detroit, Michigan, and it's actually my son Jonathan's deal. Johnny found this deal using PropWire.com, which is a free software that has over 157 million properties nationwide. Johnny analyzed the deal and decided that $190,000 would be a good deal that he could wholesale. It was listed for $230,000, so that was $40,000 less than list price. Using my sniper method, he called the listing agent directly as an unrepresented cash buyer and offered that listing agent to represent him as the buyer. That way the agent would get both sides of the commission. We call this the double dip technique. Now, since the agent is essentially making double commission, he is highly motivated to work with Johnny and bring him future deals, which is the whole point. By the way, to get my agent scripts for free, just go to agentofferscripts.com for the free download. Now, the agent agreed to present a verbal offer to the seller, and the seller accepted. And that's where I came in. Before putting the deal in writing, I took a look at the deal to make sure it was actually a good deal. And we discovered that he needed to be even lower than $190,000 for it to be a good deal. So I told Johnny, now that we know the seller is motivated, let me get on the phone with this agent and see if I can renegotiate a better deal. So in a minute, we're going to break down that call, and I'm going to show you my 3-step offer process so that you can see exactly how to position and negotiate on-market deals with agents. Now, when you call the agent, the first step is to break the ice and start creating a relationship of trust, and also see how much the agent will share with you about the seller and the situation. Remember, with on-market, you're working with the agent and you never actually talk directly to the seller. So once I tell the agent that I'm an investor interested in making a cash offer on his listing, I'll ask the first qualifying question. Tell me what's going on with the property. Then shut up and let the agent talk. The purpose again is twofold. 1, get the agent to open up, which builds trust. And 2, gather more information that may be helpful to crafting your offer. Now, pro tip here, don't just ask the question, pay attention and ask follow-up questions to engage and to understand what's going on. Some agents will open up and share with you all kinds of information, and others won't tell you anything. Now, in this case, Johnny made a $40K below asking price offer and they verbally accepted. That much we know. So watch how I ask this question and the information that I find out. Take a listen. Hi, Steve. This is Jerry.
Hi, Jerry.
Hi, nice to meet you.
What can I answer for you?
Well, I took a look at this last night with Johnny, and we like the property. I love this area. We've actually got a flip right now on Applewood. Do you know where Applewood is?
Vaguely.
Okay, yeah, it's right there in Clinton Township. Anyway, what's the situation here? Because this thing just came out. It looks like the seller wants to move this thing.
Yeah, this has been going on for about a year. She's been dilly-dallying around, and all of a sudden, she saw some of the condos that I'm showing her to go into a 55-plus area.
Oh.
And she's realizing that by the time you put an offer in, some of the places are not taking contingent offers. So while we want to take advantage of the MLS and keep it on the market, I also told her you have to be practical, because while you wait to do that, you could end up losing an opportunity.
So is that purchase contingent on this sale?
Yes.
Okay, yeah, so she's got to time those two right.
Right.
Yeah.
So I figured, look, from what Johnny was telling me, it only takes you guys a couple weeks to close.
We can close pretty quick. I like 30 days because it gives me time to get my rehab stuff lined up. But yeah, we can close faster if it's critical. But
I'd prefer 30-day close. I've got some flexibility there.
Well, I also told Johnny, and I'll tell you the same thing. I'm the babe in the woods. I'm the dumb guy in the transaction here. So I'm not sure what time frames are normally available. In a normal real estate market, 30 days wouldn't be an issue. But with the shortage of inventory out there, and we go to put an offer on a property for her, they say, oh, contingency. You think I was a leper.
Yeah.
So it's like, I'm not going to have the lady empty out her savings or touch her 401k or that kind of stuff, because that's just stupid.
No, you would definitely want that offer on the next purchase to be contingent on this one for sure.
Yes.
Yeah, otherwise you compromise her.
If we get this through the investor, we can close faster, and it's almost a guaranteed shoo-in. And I told her, you're not going to get 230 from an investor, period. That's just not going to happen.
No.
And she mulled it over, and she thought about it, and she said, okay, we found a property, she likes the property. I explained it to the other agent, the listing agent, and they said, talk to your investor, and if they can give me something in writing, we'll take the offer contingent.
Okay, so when I asked what was going on, he explained that the seller wants to downsize and found a condo that she really likes and wants to make an offer to buy the condo, but needs the proceeds from selling this house to do it. I asked a follow-up question to make sure I understood. So is that offer contingent on this house selling? He said, yes, it was. And then we talked about timing. Now, if I buy this house, how soon can we close so that he can line up her next closing with the condo that she wants to buy? Now, that was all very helpful information because it explains why she was willing to take our low cash offer, and it allows me to structure a deal where I can focus on solving the right problems. So again, step one is to build trust and find out what's going on with the property or the seller. Step two is to establish the after repair value or ARV. Now with agents, I usually refer to this as the back end value since they may not know what ARV is. The goal is to get the agent to agree with you on what that back end value is on the deal. We have to show the agent that our low cash offer makes sense based on what we can resell the property for. Now the reason is because the agent has to go back to the seller and sell them on our offer. The agent has to logically convince the seller that our offer is fair and reasonable, even though it might be low. If the agent doesn't buy in, he or she won't sell it to the seller. So I'll ask the agent, what do you think this house can resell for if I fix it up? Now at this point, you better be able to have a halfway intelligent conversation about the comps. In our example, I spent about 5 minutes before the call looking at comps, and I found several in the neighborhood that were similar that had sold for around $170 a foot or around $225,000. So watch how I talk about value with the agent. Take a listen.
I'm a little concerned about the back end value in relation to what needs done there. So I was taking a look at some comps, and it looks like there's a handful of very similar brick homes, same square footage, same bed, bath, basement, garage, same neighborhoods. And it looks like stuff's trading over there around the 225. I don't have my head around the condition of a couple of those comps because I couldn't find good pictures. The write-up said that they were renovated and updated and the outsides looked like it. But my worry is at 190, I don't have enough room to get in there and do some work and then turn around and flip it.
It's a tri-level, so that means like from the main floor down to what you would normally call a basement. That's the lower.
Right. Yeah, so it's not really a basement. They're ranches that are same square footage, beds, baths with garages and basements are pretty consistent at about 170 a foot or about 225.
It would be about 270 would be a more accurate number. There was some tri-levels that sold in the area not too long ago that had some updates the way you're talking about. One went for 279, I think it was, like a couple blocks over.
In that comp you're talking about, it's another tri-level, right?
Absolutely.
Yeah.
I did compare it to. That area doesn't have a tremendous turnover, as you've already seen.
Yeah.
And there's not a lot of inventory out there to really compare it to.
Okay, so I told him I was concerned about the back end value or the ARV. Now this was after Johnny had already made an offer. The only difference here is that if this was our first call, I would have said, what do you think the back end value is if I fix up this property? Here I just told him that I was concerned about it, and he brought up a comp that sold for $270,000. Now initially I did not see that comp because I had a filter for a basement, and then I found out that this was a tri-level and the filter removed it since it didn't consider that a basement, which is why it's good to talk about value with the agent. Maybe they know something you don't. Doesn't mean you need to agree with them. I typically don't. But when talking to the agent, be curious. Asking the agent his or her opinion on value also further establishes trust because they feel like you care about what they think. Now, step 3 is to establish what repairs need done and how much they will cost in order to hit that back-end value or ARV. This is an opportunity to hear what the agent thinks needs updated. Most agents are unaware how much it costs to rehab houses, so this is also a chance to talk about that. This is where you help the agent understand that it's going to take significant work and cost in order to create that ARV. Most agents underestimate the work it takes, so you have to paint that picture for them. Again, the point is to make a logical case as to why you need to be at that low cash offer. Take a listen.
Yeah, so my question would be, if I can turn this at 270, how much do I got to spend to get 270?
Dave, I'm not going to pull any punches. I'll be straight from the shoulder. The kitchen does need updating, probably some carpeting, and maybe some paint. But the rest of the house is pretty much turnkey ready.
I know the cabinets, counters, flooring, and paint. That, I don't think there's any way around that. What I don't want to do, though, is, okay, now I got to do windows, now I got to do the bathrooms, now I got to, and next thing you know, I'm at 50 grand.
None of that has to be done. In fact, the downstairs bathroom was a custom, beautiful Italian terrazzo tile.
I saw that. Yeah, I saw that. Yeah, it had glass and everything.
I'm a victim of a motorcycle accident. To me, that's the icing on the cake.
Why?
I was pretty much knocked out and almost killed.
Oh, because you can sit in there and stuff?
I'm a big guy to boot, so not having to squeeze my shoulders together to take a shower is a blessing.
Oh, I'm following you. It's a big, spacious shower. I got you. Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
I mean, roof looks good. Those windows are fine. And how would she leave that? What kind of condition? Because, I mean, if she left it, I might have $5,000 in demo and trash out if she leaves it like that.
No, she'll take all of her stuff with her. She's not a hoarder, but she is a collector, and there's some collectibles in there.
Yeah, she looks very clean. So it'll be vacant and empty.
Correct. And she'll get out as fast as she can. Let's put it that way.
Okay.
Okay, so we established what it needs and what it doesn't need, and that it will be cleaned out and vacant at closing. Notice how I ask questions, and I ask follow-up questions to make sure I understand. Also notice how he made a comment about how he would like the big bathroom because he got in a motorcycle accident, and I didn't understand what he was talking about, so I said, well, why? And then he explained to me why he liked that bathroom, and I said, oh, you're saying that you like the bathroom because it's big and spacious, right? So many times you don't understand what an agent or a seller is saying because you're not actively listening and you're not trying and seeking to understand. Okay, next he asked me if I want to go and see the property in person. Listen to how I respond.
Would you like to go see it live and in person?
Well, for sure we'll do that. But if we can establish that we're up there in the 270 range, then yeah, I'll send my guy. I got a guy on the ground. Help me establish a 270 value because, like I said, the ranches that are same square footage, beds, baths with garages and basements are pretty consistent at about 170 a foot or about 225. There was one that got 260, but I can't see the inside of it, so I don't know how dolled up it was.
Look, I'm trying to do 3 things at once before I run somebody over. Let me see when I get back home.
All right. Sounds good.
Thank you, Jerry.
Okay, so I told him for sure we're going to go look at it. Now I have boots on the ground that I would send to go look at the property. But first we need to establish value. And he was driving at the time, so I said, send me that comp, I'll take a look at it. And we left off with him getting me that information. Now guys, if you found this video helpful, leave a comment and say, Jerry, you are a flipping genius. And here's what I want to do next. I want to do another video and show how I broke down the numbers and then show the next call where I got on the phone again with that agent to renegotiate this deal at a lower price. So once that video is ready, click right here to watch it, and I'll see you on the next video.